Hello everybody, welcome to today's live stream. Just waiting for my stream connection just to become a little bit more solid. Anyway, I hope everyone's doing well, and I hope everyone notices that I've got some new and improved sound. So I'm hoping that this will be much better than the typical sound quality that you get just from an iPhone or something. So yeah, how's everybody doing? Has anyone lost track of what day they're on? It seems a little bit strange, doesn't it, in this pandemic? You know, each day seems to like roll into one another. So yeah, welcome everybody. It's Friday, 24th of April, and what I want to do today is just talk to you guys about what it means to play along to a metronome, or what's commonly known as a click as well, or a click track. So there's basically some supporting material to go with today's masterclass, which you can find in the description in amongst this live stream. So if you just go to that description, there's a little link to download a PDF, and I'll be referring to those exercises quite a bit today. So first of all, let's clear up a few things. If you don't know what a metronome is, it's one of these guys. So it's just something that's constant and allows a musician to keep in time. And I think drummers need to be more versed in the metronome than maybe any other musician, just because we're expected to like hold the band together or hold the particular project together. Or if you're recording, then you at least want to start with some really good drum tracks that are nice and tight to the metronome. So yeah, the metronome is literally any sound that stays consistent, and that could be in the form of something like a beep, which you just heard then, or it could be in the form of something like a loop or like a shaker track, or it could just be like another instrument as well that's helping you stay in time. So there's a few things I want you guys to like understand about a metronome before we get on with today's examples. Before we jump in as well, don't forget to follow me on the social media, which you should see on the screen somewhere around here. So don't be afraid to follow me on all those links. And also, for those who are feeling generous enough, there is a chance to donate through PayPal as well, which is also in the description of this particular live stream. So thank you very much in advance. If you enjoyed this, and then please consider donating. Anything helps in this really weird time for musicians. All right, so the things I want to talk about with the metronome then. So I've got a ton of examples that I want to show you today that will just help you with your timekeeping, which are designed for beginners as well as intermediate players. And if they're too easy, then of course you can speed them up and get them a lot faster. But yeah, so the first thing I want you guys to know is that a metronome can be changed. There are settings on any decent metronome, whether it's on your module on your e-kit, it could be an app that you've downloaded for your phone, or it could be a physical metronome that's, you know, a digital like plastic cased one with an LCD screen that you can buy as well. So here's the properties I want you guys to know. There's something called a time signature, there's something called an interval, and bear with me, I'll just check the other setting. So time signature, interval, and then of course the most important one, which is called the BPM, which stands for beats per minute. Welcome everybody. Chris, good morning sir, and thank you everybody who's joined it so far. We've got Dave, Michael, Lucy, hi Lucy, and Ruby, which is my Nan. Hi Nan, you're going to learn how to play to a click today, Nan, this is cool. Okay, so let's talk about the time signature first. So on this PDF that you can download, every drill is in 4/4 time. That basically means that there are 4 quarter notes in a bar. That's what it basically translates to. 4 quarter notes per bar. Let's count with it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's the time signature out of the way. Now the way I have my click set up is that the highest pulse is beat 1. That just lets me know where the beginning of the bar is, alright? So very easy stuff. The time signature can be changed, but we're not going to go into that today. We're just going to keep it in 4/4 time and just roll with it like that. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is something called the interval. Now the interval is telling us, or at least it's telling the metronome, how to divide its beeps, its sounds. So if I just change mine a second. Okay, so I've set my interval to quarter notes. That basically means I'm going to get 4 sounds per bar. Okay, really easy stuff. which is absolutely fine. You can actually set the interval to something else though if you want to. So I'm going to now change it to eighth notes. So we're going to hear 8 divisions per bar like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so that can be very helpful. And for those who have got enough patience, or if you're playing along to a particularly slow BPM, beats per minute, then you can actually divide that interval into something called 16th notes as well, which is a little bit grating on the ears, but this is how it sounds. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. So the interval can be incredibly helpful, and I'm sure on some of the drills I'll tweak the interval just to show you guys how it can be useful for a musician or a drummer. Okay, so the final thing we're going to talk about is something called the BPM, which stands for beats per minute, which is arguably one of the most important things on the metronome. So at the moment, I've got my metronome set to a very honest 75 beats per minute. What that means is that you get 75 quarter notes per bar. Okay, sorry, not per bar, per minute. 75 quarter notes per minute. Okay, so we're not going to sit here for a whole minute and count them, but I'll just show you what 75 looks like again. So you're going to hear 75 beeps in a minute. Now, if I double that to say 150, then lo and behold, you're going to hear 150 of these beeps within a minute. And of course, the track naturally sounds a lot faster. Hi, Karen. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining today's live stream. So they're the 3 main properties that I want to talk about with the click. And of course, you can tweak them to your abilities. So, you know, if you're a more experienced player, then hopefully you'll know how to be really flexible with the click. So let's dive in. We're going to do like the first exercise. So just bear with me. I'm just going to pull up the sheet music for this one. Okay, so exercise 1. This is a drill. It's basically like a subdivision modulation where we're going through the subdivision pyramid. We're going from quarter notes to eighth notes to triplets to 16th notes, okay? Now, the cool thing about this drill is it helps, especially new people, it helps you really understand how time is divided, or how time is very mathematical. So what we're going to see here is we're going to do one pass of it using single strokes, which is just simply right, left, right, left. And then on the next pass, which is a little bit trickier, we're going to go right, right, left, left. So we're going to do double strokes on the next pass, okay? So things we need to check, we need to make sure that our click is set to, let's go simple first. Let's go for 75 BPM, intervals at quarter notes, and let's just see how this one feels. Here's the whole run. And we find ourselves back at the beginning of this drill. So okay, it's a bit of a basic one to get us going with, but it's very, very useful to be able to like divide your timekeeping this way, okay? Morning, everybody else who's joined. Hi, oh, nice microphone. Thanks, Oliver. I bought it myself. It's from my studio. I just thought I want to improve the sound for you guys. So if the sound is dodgy in any ways, please let me know. And feel free to leave some comments and stuff. You know, if you're digging this stuff, then just let me know. Gives me some encouragement. Okay, so I'm now going to do the drill like a lot quicker. So we're just going to increase that BPM. Go from 75, let's go up to 100, all right? But I won't dwell too long. I think you guys get the idea. Awesome, so that's 100 BPM, and now let's check it out at something like 150. Awesome. Great drill for just internalizing rhythm. Now, at some point today, we're going to discuss why it's important to play along to a click, why a drummer might want to get good at this skill, but we'll save that maybe like midway through this session. Hi, everybody that's joined. David says, glad I can finally watch this live. Yes, that is right. Oliver says, sound is so clear. Or cleaner. Thank you. And Chris says, rock on, brother. All right, let's move on to the next drill, everybody. So, the next drill, this is from bar 5 onwards. So it's taken the concept of doing quarter notes, eighth notes, triplets, and 16th notes, and we're putting it now into a drum beat context, okay, which is arguably more useful. The hi-hats get all the changes here, and the bass and snare drum just stay exactly where they're meant to be on beats 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so let's just watch this one. You'll get the idea, but it's bar 5 onwards. So let's go for an innocent BPM. Let's go for 75 BPM again. Pay attention to the hi-hat and how it changes or looks like it's speeding up. Okay, it's a fun drill. It's a little bit of an illusion, this one, because of course the speed isn't getting faster. The BPM is still set at 75 BPM. But what happens is you get this like cool effect where it feels like the hi-hats are gradually getting more condensed or more excited. That's kind of what's meant to be happening here. We've got like the hi-hats are becoming more. We're going from 4 in a bar to 8 to 12 to then 16. And this, to me, creates energy. All right, if I play it all a little bit quicker for you, you'll notice that that energy just keeps going up the more hi-hats I add, or at least it gives it a little bit of urgency, okay? So it's a cool drill to be able to handle. 100 BPM, here we go. Awesome. Okay, so it makes sense. It's just gradually getting faster for the right hand, but of course, time itself is staying at a set 100 BPM there, okay? So that's actually a really cool drill to do. It seems quite basic until you start getting to those higher subdivisions. And the reason I put that one on the PDF is just because it gets you ready for a couple of different feels. You've got the quarter note feel, the standard eighth note feel. You've got a triplet feel, which gives it a little bit of a 12/8 time signature feel. And then you've got the hip hop side, which is those 16th notes. Chris says, wow, the versatility in these exercises will improve any drumming style. Yeah, absolutely. So particularly that last one we just did then. So you could obviously take that a lot further. All right, cool. Again, just shout if you've got any questions or let me know if my audio is good or everything sucks. Just let me know. All right, so we're going to move on to the next drill. This is bars 9 and 10. All right, this is a cool little drill. This is kind of like a little punk rock drill. Very good for like rock and roll. It works as well for pretty cool styles like Motown and funk as well. So we've got this like really nice snare driven beat that sounds a little bit like this. It's like the happiest drum beat in the world, that is. And then we've got a cool drill that's based around linear. It's basically going right, left, foot, foot. Here we're going from 8th notes to 16th notes. And the idea of this one is to just really lock in nicely with a quarter note click. And you know what, just for the hell of it today, on this particular drill, I think I'll start changing the intervals just to show you like what effect that might have when you're learning to play to a click. So, let's see. What should we go for? 75 first, just something fairly innocent. This is bar 2, by the way. Okay, so, well, I should have said bar 10. So this is 9 and 10, everybody. Eesh, 75 BPM really drags. So let's go up. Let's go up to 100 BPM. a little bit more comfortable. Okay, and then let's really ramp it up. 160. What I'm going to do here, because it's a much faster tempo, I am going to play 3 bars up front, so it just doesn't feel like the filling comes in all the time. Awesome, 160. Sorry, I turned the filling around on that last one. I couldn't help myself. So yeah, hopefully you guys can see the value of something like that. All right, fairly basic drill still, but I'm convinced that the basic stuff is the stuff to grow from. Good roots will create a really good drumming tree for you lot. So, okay, Richard says, nice lesson, dude. Oh, you're welcome. So hope everyone's doing well and enjoying themselves. So let's talk about this. On this particular drill, I was playing along to like a quarter note interval. So now I'm going to show you the same drill, but it's now going to spit eighth notes at me. So I'm basically getting more clues how to keep in time. I'm getting twice as many reference points to keep in time with this particular beat. And for this one, I'll go for 100 BPM again, because that was quite a nice tempo for it. One and two and three and four and. So yeah, that's quite useful. It just sounds like there's a lot more of a reference to lock in with. And now we'll go up to 16th note interval, which is probably a bit overkill, but it can still be useful for people. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that just goes to show you what the interval can do. It can just really help you lock in with the pattern. It's like you're being thrown a bigger lifeline to keep in time with this particular rhythm. So, Mike, thanks for joining us, buddy. Hope you're well, man. Love your content. Keep doing what you're doing, dude. Chris says, awesome, man. Thank you. Karen says, nice lesson. If you could do more on triplets would be helpful. Cool. All right, I'll make a note of that. There's some triplet stuff coming up later on. Richard says, love how fast your feet are. Love how fast your feet are. Also, what kit are you using here? I'm using a Roland TD9, which is about a decade old, and I've pimped it out with some Evans sound off heads, which are this cool black on black feel, right? Black on black never goes out of fashion, everybody. Okay, so hopefully you guys are understanding that drill and you're understanding what happens when you increase or decrease the interval, okay? Like I said, it just increases that reference point. It might help a drummer keep in time better if they're hearing more reference points within the bar. All right, cool. So at this point, and you guys are very welcome to chime in at this point, is we're going to talk about why a drummer would want to learn to play along to a metronome, or why a drummer should work at playing to a metronome to get really, really good at it. So I have a few reasons, and of course you guys are welcome to say a few things in the comments below. So here's a couple of big things on why the metronome's important. The first and most obvious one is it helps you keep in time. Mind blown. So it helps you keep in time, which is a skill that any musician should have and be incredibly good at. So it helps you keep in time. Really, really easy one to start off with there. Another one is it kind of encourages you to keep playing, all right? So with my beginner students, I have a few of them who are a little bit shy, like they only want to really play 1 or 2 bars and then they stop and look at me and ask for some sort of confirmation or affirmation that they did the right thing. So It's basically like having a sparring partner. So that click is very consistent. You have to physically turn it on and off. So you might as well keep it on and just keep grooving away at it. So in a way, it's encouraging you. It's like a coach or a sparring partner. It's just always there. It's saying, play more, until you turn me off, of course. Okay. Chris says, timing being in the pocket. Yes, absolutely. We'll come back to a little bit more of that in a minute, Chris. But yeah, of course, metronome is all about keeping nice and tight to the music. So another really useful reason to get good at the click is, especially for the intermediate and professional players, is it's basically like a way of measuring their progress. So if I was working on a pattern and let's say day one, I got that pattern sounding really good at 100 BPM, then on day two, I got it really good at 120 BPM, and then basically after a week, I was all the way up to 200 BPM. The click won't lie. That data is going to show you whether you are progressing or not. So it's a fantastic way to just measure the progress. And I've done that before. I remember doing it for a whole year. I was working on some double pedal stuff, and I just jotted down what was my maximum BPM for that day that I felt I played well at. I didn't write it down if I thought I played pretty badly. But if I was playing well, then I made a note of that BPM and then checked out the next day and tried to beat it. So it's a measurement tool. Okay, here's another one that's really, really important. It helps you understand how to portray the different subdivisions when it comes to music. So if you just got, say, a quarter note interval happening, 1, 2, 3, 4, then it teaches you how to squeeze all the other subdivisions into it. And that could be quarter notes, eighth notes, triplets, 16th notes, quintuplets, sextuplets, septuplets, 32nd notes, non-tuplets, I can't remember how you say the 9, but nines, 10 tuplets, all the way up to whatever value that you care to go for. So it's an excellent way of showing you how rhythm works, how the universe of music and rhythm works, showing you how much content you can fit in a bar. So it's a very educational tool in that sense. And my final one for the moment, unless you guys want to chime in, is let's say you're in the studio or you're playing live and say you've been hired by some credible pop singer or something like that. So in the studio, in this day and age, a lot of the time people are recording to a click track. And what that means is in your bit of software, it means that the click track then corresponds to the grid that you see in this piece of software. So it's like having a very, very nice ruler to edit with or to time things with. So when you're recording, the click track basically becomes the master timekeeper. And I suppose in more cases than not, the idea is to lock in with the click, and then whoever records next can then lock in with the click, knowing that it will lock in with the drums. And it's just basically something that you can build on top of one another. So in the studio, it's really, really awesome. And the same thing goes for live. Now, I remember doing this with the band I was with last called In Dark Light. And in the studio, we had some cool songs, and it had some cool like extra production on it, like vocal effects or extra percussion or these whooshes and sound effects that just heightened the music. And I was like, you know what? It'd be really cool to be able to play those live, because we were just a three-piece, just drums, guitar, bass, vocals, just three of us in the band. And I was like, it'd be really cool if we can get some of those studio sounds into the live shows. So I'd sit there with an iPad at the live gig. The sound guy would get a feed of this particular backing track. I'd have a click in one ear and the backing track sound effects in another ear. And I would do the whole gig along to a metronome, which is what a fantastic skill that is to be able to do, is to be able to entertain people and put on a really good show, still with a metronome in one ear that's keeping everything together and learning to relax in that situation. So there's a couple of core ways in which I like to encourage people to get good at the click. And it goes without saying, good timekeeping is going to internalize itself in you anyway. So if you're not playing along to a click, but you've got good metronomic skills, a lot of your rhythm's going to sound super tight. You're not going to be that sort of drummer that rushes or drags without really meaning to. So just very quickly then, before we crack on. So Chris made a really good point. He's like, timing being in the pocket. So we'll quickly talk about that. Now, when it comes to playing along to the click, the first thing I teach students ideally is to play bang on the click. Okay, you're kind of masking it. You want to get right on top of it. I'll show you. So I'm going to attempt to mask the click, play so tight that you can't really hear it. Okay, I went off on one there, but basically it's to show you that I tried my best to keep in time there. Here's another way that you could play along to the click. So let's say you're playing on time. You might want to arrive slightly early, okay? Which I always think of drummers like Taylor Hawkins from Foo Fighters. He's a really energetic guy, and he plays just that little bit in front of the click, okay? So I'm gonna play. I'm gonna set the BPM a little bit higher and show you this in effect. It adds some energy. 135 BPM, kind of not far off like Learn to Fly, for instance, by Foo Fighters. Okay, so learning to just stay a little bit ahead of the click. And finally, let's go for something that's a little bit like funky and dirty, where I'm actually going to like drag a bit in time. That's going to give the music a little bit of a lazy feel. So we'll go down to something like 85 BPM for this. Which is where you're playing slightly late to the click, okay? So all of those have their own like intrinsic feel to them and energies that go with them. So playing in time is great, but playing just in front of it or just behind it is also a very nice skill as well. Let's quickly look at some of the comments. So Colin says, sounds great, cast to the home theatre, Lewis. Hope you're well, Colin. Chris says, Rush was a 3-piece band, mate. Rip Neil Peart. Rest in peace, Neil Peart. But yeah, they were a wicked 3-piece. Really inspirational for us. As well as bands like Nirvana, Feeder, The Police. Tons of great 3-pieces. Placebo. David says, have you ever done a Q&A session? We can do one right now if you want, David, because I'm keeping track of all the comments. But yeah, we can do a Q&A another time. If you've got some cool questions, it doesn't even have to be related to the click. Then, yep, feed me with your questions. And Chris says, my first influence was Ginger Baker from Cream. Oh yeah, another wicked 3-piece. All right, let's move on, everybody. So, other ways of getting good at playing to a click is something called polyrhythms, which is what bar 11 and bar 12 is about, okay? So what we've got here is an empty bar that's just saying groove. Anything goes, as long as it's in 4/4 time. And then we've got a rhythm, which is playing 3/4. So what's happening here is we're basically doing an accent every 3 notes like this. And of course it resolves using the very last 4 notes. So ideally, you want to be able to do a consistent 16th note roll, but be able to extract which accents that you want to give it a different feel. So I'll show you a quick drill to show you what I mean. Awesome, so the accents give it this slightly wobbly feel, like it's ducking and diving around the click. Okay, so we'll jump in on this one. Other than that, it's fairly self-explanatory. We're using single strokes. So here we go, let's jump in at the pace we're at, 90 BPM. Okay, hopefully that's quite self-explanatory. You can hear it's basically meandering around the click. Yeah, it's rooted in 16th notes. So let's try it a little quicker. 120. and so on. Let's go one step faster. Let's go 150. Awesome. Hope that makes sense to everybody. So it's quite cool. You could, of course, divide it further, do different accents and stuff. But I like the whole 3/4 feel on that one. Okay, let's move on. So bars 13 and 14, similar idea. We're still doing this polyrhythm, but we're now doing right, left foot, left, right foot. So the idea here is to just follow the sticking and where the bass drums fall. But you know it's going to give you that similar type of feel. All right, so let's just try this one at, say, 100 BPM. Cool. So yeah, I love seeing how students get on with something like that, because sometimes those odd groupings can usually trip a few newbies up. All right. So of course, if you're more of an intermediate or professional player, you know you'll be way beyond that sort of technique. But it's a really nice fill-in. It sits in a lot of nice styles, and of course, if you want to make it harder for yourself, just speed it up. So there's always a further challenge waiting for you guys. Good. Welcome, Ash. And Michael says, man, that last fill-in is my Achilles heel. Well, there you go. Starts here, getting it good to a click. All right, so we've got a couple of drills left, guys. So thanks for all sticking around. Hope you guys are enjoying yourselves. Keep leaving some comments. Love reading your comments. So we're now on to, I think, the second page. Let me just check that. Yeah, page 2. Of this particular PDF. And by the way, if you guys are enjoying this, please remember to follow me on the social media. I think you've got Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. So come and say hello on those channels as well. And if you are enjoying this and you're getting something from it, then please consider donating using the PayPal link that is in this live stream's description. All right. Awesome. So this next drill was worth 4 bars. It's bars 15, 16, 17, and 18. Okay. Now this is a cool drill. What's happening here is that the hands are playing 16th notes, the snare drum's on 2 and 4, so nothing crazy at the moment, but the bass drum is basically sliding further back into the bar each bar we play. Okay, so we're starting with bass drums on 1, then it's moving to the E of 1, which is a 16th note late, then we're moving to the AND of 1, which is a further 16th note delayed, and then we're on to the A of beat 1, which is again another 16th note delayed. All right, and the idea here is to keep a good sense of where the pulse is when playing along to the click. We'll play this one fairly slow to start with. We'll just go for like a gentle 80 BPM with this one. And you'll hear what's happening. It's the bass drum doing all the work, and the hands are just staying rock solid, all right, which is what we're looking for. So again, that can be really sneaky for new drummers, because that bass drum, if you're not paying attention to the click, then that bass drum could accidentally pull you onto the click when it's not meant to, and vice versa. Sometimes the hands can get a little bit muddled, and the bass drum's like, hey, hands, what are you playing at? I'm doing the right thing, but the hands can be messing up. So, okay, it's a really cool groove. It just helps you develop your sense of time along to a click. And, of course, this will help you when you start to do more interesting 16th note patterns in that kind of dance style that I was just playing. So we'll try this one a little bit quicker, and I'll just gradually up the BPM, just see if there's a kind of limit or a sweet spot to this type of beat. But yeah, it's a really, really effective drill, and it's cool. It just keeps cascading on itself. So here we go. 110. 145. Let's try again. Nice. Okay, so that's quite hard work at 145. I wasn't expecting it to be that tough. It almost got me, everybody. So yeah, it's a little bit of a utility drill, to be fair. I don't think you'd ever play it in a song like that. But the practice makes perfect, and once you understand all the different positions that the bass drum can exist in, then of course you're unlocking these kind of beats. And you can just do some way more interesting stuff with it. Chris says practice makes perfect. Yes, it does. Making sure that you actually are practicing it perfectly, meaning the drill needs to be correct. You don't want to practice something wrong and then get really good at playing it wrong. David says, this lesson is perfect to understand while drumming to a click is so important. Nice work, Lewis. Yeah, and it doesn't have to be like a hard lesson. So, I apologize to you intermediate and pro players. You guys should know the ropes with this anyway if you fall into that category. But a click, can come across as a little bit of an evil, a little bit of a villain to begin with for people. It certainly did for me. I hated the click when I first started playing to it when I was like 13 or 14. Horrible. I couldn't bond with it at all. But now, me and the click are friends. We know how to play side by side. And sometimes now I feel like instead of the click flanking me, I feel like I can flank the click and be in a little bit more control with it. Maybe at the end I'll show you a bit of that. I'll just have some fun with the click and see if I can kick its butt a little bit. All right, let's move on. So, the drill underneath. Okay, this is a really cool one. You don't actually need a drum kit for this. This is more of like a rudiment exercise. You can do this on a practice pad, or on the carpet, or in the garden, on the grass. Don't mind where you play this one, as long as you are playing it correct. So this is bars 19 to bar 22, okay? It's all 16th notes. Straightforward, okay? We're happy with that concept. And we have got a bar of paradiddles like this. Fine, the accents are clearly going to fall on the click if we're in quarter note world. Then we're going to be doing something called a paradiddle diddle, which is based around the number 6, which adds up to 12 if you play 2 of them. And then we've got the first half of a paradiddle to bring that up to 16 like this. And the number 6 is clearly going to weave around the click. Okay, it's not going to really want to bond with it terribly well. We just have to trust the fact that we're playing at a 16th note pace. Okay, so because it falls on one side of a paradiddle at the end of bar 20, we're then going to be forced onto our left hand to do the same drill. So it basically inverts itself. And I put something up on this on YouTube not that long ago, about a week ago or so. It's really nice to build a non-biased relationship with the hands. So making sure that the bilateral nature of your body is nice and even. Okay, so I did a drill where it works the right hand just as much as the left, and the right hand is the leader just as much as the left hand. So this is a similar drill. So this is bars 21 and 22 now, starting on our left hand with the paradiddle. And then the paradiddle diddle, starting with our left hand. And then you're left to end it with the latter half of a paradiddle, and it flicks you right back onto your right hand for bar 19. So a little bit wordy to explain, but hopefully you guys understood that. Let me just play it to you. I'll start slow. It's going to really weave around the click though, so I'll have to concentrate. 80 BPM. God, some of these drills are really hard to play that slow. So I do apologize. 80 BPM did feel a little bit of a crawl for that one. Okay, so let's move it up now. So I'm going to go to something a little bit more comfortable. 110. And it just goes to show that it's really important, especially for me, to practice stuff slowly as well as going fast. So don't just ignore slow tempos. It's actually quite hard to play along to a really, really slow track. So I'm just going to play around with this one. I'll shout out which BPM I'm doing. 140. 170. 200. 200 is quite hard. It's quite hot here in England at the minute, so my hands are a bit sweaty. But anyway, really cool drill. Polyrhythmic still, because you've got this like 6/4 feel on two of the bars. Anyway, it's what it is, so enjoy that one. So guys, we just got 2 drills left. Thanks for everybody for sticking around. And I say, if you did enjoy this, then do find me on, subscribe to me on all the other social media, follow me, give me a like. And also, if you dig it, then feel free to give me a nice little donation to help fund this kind of thing or help me through this awkward pandemic for a self-employed musician. Okay, so we're checking out now, last 2 drills. So we've got bar 23 and 24, which is a groove based around triplets, which someone asked about earlier. And then we've got a really nice little feel going on here. We've basically got a 4 within a 3. So on the second bar, we've got a bar of triplets, which adds up to the number 12. But we're dividing it, instead of dividing it into 4 lots of 3s, we're going the opposite and we're doing 3 lots of 4s, okay? Which is a neat way of doing a little turnaround on a triplet. So the first bar, hopefully, is quite self-explanatory. Got that nice shuffle feel using triplets. And then we've got a drill that goes right, left, left, left 3 times, and it goes down the tom-toms. Which in my head I'm going 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. So the challenge here is to play the groove nice and neat, which I think will be the easiest part along to a click. And then you're going to do something slightly polyrhythmic with the fill-in, okay? So this is a cool little drill as well. I'll show you this. This can help you with the fill-in. (115 BPM). So if you're having trouble with that fill-in, you could just roll some triplets. And then try and do the fill-in afterwards. And the triplet rate won't change, so you want to be using your ears more than maybe what your hands are telling you. Anyway, let's dive in. So here's the drill, 115 BPM, 1 groove, 1 fill-in. Awesome. I hope that makes sense, everybody. Let's go a little bit faster. This is 140. And I'm going to play 3 grooves up front just to help me with the fill. Cool. All right. Again, it's a nice way of getting to that territory where it feels like we're controlling the click now rather than the other way around. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that one. Chris says, I got used to doubles over triplets really easily. Think they sound awesome. Good. I'm glad. I think that's represented in the first drill, if I'm correct. So double strokes over triplets. Good work, Chris. Keep working hard, my man. All right, last drill. Ooh, no, we've got 2 drills left. I apologize, everybody. We've got 2 more to get through, and they're both bangers, so hopefully enjoy this. So bars 25 to 28. Okay, this is like the punk rock, alternative rock child coming out in me here. It's kind of how I started. I started definitely as a rock drummer. And there's a lot of bands that showed me how to play this sort of style. But again, I'm going to reference Taylor Hawkins from Foo Fighters. But I'll also reference some other bands as well, like Feeder, American Hi-Fi, maybe older bands like Guns N' Roses, that kind of stuff is a little bit evident in this particular drill. So these are called pushes. So what's happening here is that we're learning to push or lean against the click. So if you look at bar 25, for instance, it starts with the crash on the very first beat, but then there's a crash on what looks like the very last 8th note of the bar. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. And even though that feels like it's arriving before the click, or I suppose it is arriving before the fresh bar, we're looking for like an over the bar line feel here, okay? So this can improve your ability to play along to a metronome because you're kind of like ducking and diving or cruising through it, surfing around the click. You know, you've caught the wave, but you're so comfortable that you can just sort of have some fun and cruise along with the click instead of feeling like you're at the click's mercy, basically. Okay, so I'll show you this drill. I'll do it slowly first. And let's put a click going, nice and slow to begin with. $100. So those crashes that are happening at the end of every bar, they're called pushes, everybody. And, you hear them all the time in the bands that I just referenced. They bring a certain kind of energy, like the music's always pushing. It's trying to push your door down. So let's play it a lot faster. This is designed to be played probably at like 150, if not higher. So let's jump in at 150. Why not? And let's really push it. Should we try 200? Why not? There you go. That sounds like the punk rock that I grew up on. It sits so well. Very, very good for teaching you how to start flanking the click and start going just ahead of it. Not ahead of it in terms of the time or the bar. We're just learning how to like crash in front of it or behind it in some cases. So incredibly effective for building a greater sense of time with a metronome. So Chris says, awesome, Lewis. That's what they're called. Yes, they're called pushes, which is where you kind of go on the and or the of beat 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2, 3, 4, and there's so many tracks in history that feature that feel. Let's go for more of a 16th note feel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, So there's definitely lots of tracks by Prince that have that kind of feel. All right. Chris says, thank you so damn much, brother. Keep rocking, sir. I'm actually good friends with Doyle from the Misfits. Woo. He'll have that kind of stuff in his playing. Absolutely. Misfits are a sick band. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Hope everybody's having fun. I've got one more drill for you, and then I'm going to sign off because I've almost hit the 1 hour mark and probably burning you guys out. Or my voice is getting burnt out. Obviously, check back for more live streams. I'm going to try and make this like a weekly thing. But we'll have a little chat at the end. Let's go on to the last drill, which is bars 29 and 30, okay? Now, this is back to kind of like a pad exercise or something that you can do on the carpet or on your bed or in the garden. You don't have to be by a drum kit to be able to do this kind of thing. So what's happening here is we're moving in fives. So the idea is that it's a 16th note pace, so 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a. But we're moving in fives, meaning 4 notes we get to play, and then we pause for 1 16th note, which is why this drill ends up looking really ugly if you're not up with your 16th note theory or broken 16th note theory. So what's going to happen here is that it's going to kind of feel like it's slipping back in time, and it might sound weird with a click until you get to your very last 2 notes. And those last 2 notes are basically acting as resolve, all right? Because 16 plus 16 is 32. That's how many notes we could play in 2 bars. 32 16th notes, but the number 5 doesn't fit into 32. It fits into the number 30, but you're going to have 2 remaining, which is why there's just 2 random 16th notes at the end. I call them resolve notes, okay? But let's feel this. It's always as single strokes as well. So right, left, pause, right, left, pause, right, left, pause. Really strange. It's going to help you build a much, much deeper sense of keeping time with a metronome. So let's try it, nice and innocent, so to begin with. "80 BPM. Bit wobbly, that one, isn't it? I played it tight enough, but on the ears, it does sound like it's quite wobbly to the metronome, but trust me, it is staying in time. Let's go quicker, why not? 110 BPM, here we go. Really cool drill. There's tons you could do with that as well. You could develop that into some fills or grooves. Let's go one step quicker. And of course, this is our final drill, so thanks everybody for sticking with it. Much faster, here we go. 140. Awesome. So that brings us to the end of this particular class, everybody. The idea was to introduce you guys to concepts of playing along to a metronome, encourage you to want to play along to a metronome, because a lot of people do shy away from it. And when it comes to the big day of either being in a studio or playing live with a click, then a lot of people can crumble. But yeah, I'm hoping that these drills really, really help you to develop a greater sense of time. Now, one of the cool things is if you spend enough time with the click, it becomes like the best friend that you just can't stop thinking about. You just love your best friend so much. You always want to hang out. You always want to like see each other because it's so fun to hang out with this person. So if you keep playing to the click, you're going to internalize your own click. You're going to have a really good sense of what it's like to play metronomic timing without the help of something external like a metronome or a loop. And one of the biggest compliments that I receive, especially when I'm playing live or in the studio, is people ask me, well, first of all, they say, congratulations, I really enjoyed your playing. And then they'll say, were you playing along to a click track? And in the times that I've had that compliment given to me, I wasn't actually playing to a click track, which suggests that my timing was tight enough that he thought I was playing along to something other than my own ability to keep time. So that was a really cool compliment, and I dig that. David says, thank you so much. You're amazing and definitely worth supporting. Thank you, David. Well, please support me by telling others about what I do, following me on the social media links, which are in the corner. The social media links are also in the description. And if you dig this, then do please consider donating through PayPal, which there is a link in this description on this live stream. If you guys are digging this kind of stuff, then keep checking back and try and do it every week. I might up it, I have a good amount of fun doing this. So I might do 2 a week, who knows, go crazy. If you've got any requests as well for future lessons, then please let me know. Chris, you've been so vocal and very, very lovely to me today, mate. You've said absolutely awesome, bro, and you rock, Lewis. Chris, thank you so much. So if you guys have got any questions, now is the time to do it. But other than that, I will keep a check on any comments that you leave after this. I'm going to upload the video on YouTube as well, and also keep it on Facebook. If you dig this, if you've got any issues playing along to a click, then obviously you can reach out to me. But yeah, it's cool. It's a nice talent to just be like, yeah, I can play to a click, no problem. Here we go. Oh, I promised you I'd do something as well. So just to end today's live stream, I'm just going to have a little bit of fun with the click. I'm just going to vibe with it. I'm going to try and kick its butt a little bit. It might kick my butt from time to time. Let's just have a little bit of fun jamming to it. Mistakes and all. and so on, just for a bit of fun, just goofing around with the click. Kind of feel like I'm bullying the click, you know. I'm being like, keep time with me. I'm doing crazy stuff around it, and you know, making a few mistakes. But the cool thing is, I can jump right back on that click wagon, and everything is happy at the end of the day. So do try that as well. Playing to the click can be like really good fun. It can be very zen-like as well. It can put you in a nice state of meditation. So yeah, don't be afraid to just goof around with the click as well. Make some errors, let it kick your butt from time to time, then kick its butt back, and just, yeah, really start bonding with it. Anyway, guys, I can't see any new comments, so I'm gonna love you and leave you. And have a great day. Thank you so much for watching the live stream. Do hit like and subscribe to some stuff. You can see them in the corner there. And any donations are very warmly welcomed. All right, thanks, guys. See you all very soon. Take care.